than 4 hours to find Goodman guilty on both counts, DUI manslaughter and vehicular homicide. John Goodman will spend tonight in jail at least. The polo mogul will be sentenced at a later date. News Channel 5 legal analyst and defense attorney Michelle Suskauer here to break down today's verdict. First of all, talk about the difference, DUI manslaughter, vehicular homicide, briefly.
Well, the state charged him with 2 counts, although they're going to, at sentencing, actually have to drop one of them. But one has an alcohol component, DUI manslaughter. The other one, vehicular homicide, does not have an alcohol component. So just in case either they had a problem bringing in the alcohol or the jury didn't believe that he was over the legal limit at the time of the crash, that's why they went with 2 different possibilities here.
Bottom line, prosecutors had a different option to get a guilty verdict, a different legal path to take.
That's right.
Talk about your sense, and of course you never know what's in a juror's mind unless they speak out. Thus far they have not. But give us a sense of what you think were the points that probably were the ones that they highlighted in their minds in that jury room.
Well, I think all of the alcohol evidence, the evidence about how much he had to drink, the bar bills, his blood alcohol level, which was more than twice the legal limit, the actual crash too, and you know, it may have turned some jurors off about whether or not they believed he drank after the accident. These are all strong points that the state had to, the state had. I mean, they had a lot to work with.
And many differences, but many similarities. In 2 trials, you had 2 key things. One, that the Bentley malfunctioned.
Right.
The jury didn't buy it in either case, apparently. And number 2, that he walked off, that he drank after the fact at another place, a so-called man cave.
Right.
In neither case, did that establish enough credence with jurors, apparently.
No, they didn't, but look, you don't know what really resonates with these jurors, and it could be different things that resonate with different ones because they all come to the jury room with different life experiences.
Talk about sentencing. What's the maximum he could get?
The maximum he was sentenced to already was 16 years. The judge is locked,
around.
Right, and the judge is locked to 16. If you're going to ask me what I think he's going to get, I think he's going to get 16.
Really? You do?
I
You
do.
think he'll get up to what he was sentenced to before, not beyond that?
No, he won't get beyond that. He can't get beyond that.
Cannot get beyond
Yes.
that. And briefly, people are wondering, in jail tonight, how does this work? He'd been on house arrest. What do you think happens to him in the next few days?
Well, they're going, if they can't be an agreement between the 2 parties for bond, for an appellate bond, meaning while the case is winding through the appellate courts for the next several years, then there's going to be a bond hearing, and the court is going to have to decide if he is a flight risk, and whether or not the judge wants to allow him the opportunity to be on house arrest or not. But I'll tell you, the state is definitely going to ask for as much as they possibly can in order to try to keep John Goodman in custody.
Also, take your lawyer hat off just for a brief moment. So many people said to me in the last few years, off and on, John Goodman, John Goodman, John Goodman. Scott Wilson almost became a quick catchphrase. There was a young man involved here, but it's a legal process. Everybody's due their day in court. It's not diminishing the grief or the agony for Scott Wilson's family, but it's part of that process that sometimes to an outsider can seem at a remove and somewhat distant and callous. That's not what it's meant to be.
No, absolutely not. I mean, this is a tragedy for both families because no one is going to be the same, and no one will ever be the same through this process. But the point is, the first time around, John Goodman did not receive a fair trial. That's why the judge ordered a new trial. So we'll see what the appellate courts think about this.
All right. And you'll be with us throughout it all, and whatever twists and turns it takes, Kelly.
Katie Luke.